Rebels, how are you? We're back at the coffee shop.
And today we are going to talk about our literary loves.
The swoony kind.
This is 10% luck, 20% skill, 15% concentrated power of will, 5% pleasure, 50% pain, and 100% reason to remember the name.
So to start off my list of literary loves, I'm going to go old school and be a little cliche and say that, you know, of course, Pride and Prejudice, Mr. Darcy will always be, for me, a big deal. I will always love Mr. Darcy. I love him in the book. I love Colin Firth as him as well. I think that that's when I first started to have a crush on Colin Firth, when he played Mr. Darcy, so that tells you a little bit about how much I love that character. And I'm going to go even more old school. I'm going to go with Mr. Rochester from Jane Eyre, because I thought he was awesome too. I don't know why sort of the tempestuous, secretive guy thing really got to me. So apparently I like sort of removed men that you can't figure out. I guess that's the pattern we see here.
Gee, I can't figure out that. I don't understand that at all. Inaccessible men, no. But I love Sherlock Holmes, not because he's inaccessible, but because he is so brilliant, because he is an atypical hero. He doesn't fight with his fists and everything else. He goes undercover, he wears costumes, he does research, scientific research, he blows up his apartment, he's wonderful, especially with Benedict Cumberbatch playing him on the BBC version. But I'm a huge Sherlockian fan, huge.
I'm a Cumberbatch fan.
Oh yeah, well, yes. One of my other literary loves is Nat Nathaniel from The Witch of Blackbird Pond. I was going to name my first child after him. My husband vetoed that. Nathaniel, the hero, meets our heroine when she's coming over from Barbados, where she's led a much more free
Yeah.
lifestyle, and she's going to New England, to puritanical New England, to live with relatives, where you can tell she is not going to fit in. And she is a very strong character on her own, but she does need a little bit of help in the rescue area. She is not by any means a damsel in distress character, but he is still the rescue type hero, and he's just dreamy. He just is.
I would have to agree. And I think, you know what, if you're looking at girl crush-worthy girls, the Kit would be one of my, girls who are crush-worthy. She is a really cool character.
Yeah, Kit. I have a thing for Kates. Kate from Tammy the Shrew, Kit from The Witch of Blackbird Pond.
Feisty.
Yeah, I love them. And two of my other literary crushes, I like the non-traditional hero. I love the Scarlet Pimpernel because he is not caught up in appearances and everything else. He's willing to look the fool. He's willing to look stupid to serve the greater good. And I really respect somebody who is not so caught up in the way that they present themselves to the world, but in what's on the inside and what they're really, truly all about.
That's a cool choice. I might get into your list.
And I think for the same reason I love Peeta, because he is willing to do whatever it takes, play the lovesick fool, which he really is.
Totally.
But I love him. I don't necessarily need an alpha hero. Don't get me wrong, I love my alpha heroes. But I love the ones that might be overlooked if you don't see what's inside, and that's, I think, what's all important to me.
Well, and Pete is like that good husband material kind of guy. Like, you know, there's the exciting whatever, but he's the guy that you know is going to be there, that is the one that you would be with long term, I think. He's
Absolutely.
like that guy.
The hidden depths.
And then I'm going to go the other direction and pick an alpha character this time. And I'm going to go with Jace from City of Bones, Cassandra Clare's novels, which I totally love. But I love the character. He's sort of snarky. He's totally masculine, and he's a bad boy. And, you know, I don't usually pick the bad boys, but in this particular book it worked really, really well for me. So I totally swooned over him. And then to go back to old school, because I think most of my list is old school, because that's sort of where all my big crushes happened when I was a lot younger. You know what? I have a thing for older men. I will just say it. I did when I was a kid too. When I was really, really young, I had a crush on a boy when I was like 13. He was in college, and the poor guy, I followed him everywhere at my church. Like, really had these huge visions of us someday getting together when I got old enough and he finally noticed me. And so I love Mr. Bear from Little Women. I really love Joe, and then I really liked their relationship. I thought it was so cool how he challenged her. So she wrote a book and he didn't tell her, oh, it's great. He made her work at it, and then, you know, they finally come together, and it's sort of this companionship that I think is so neat that they have. And to riff off of that, you know, there's also Almanzo from the Laura Ingalls Wilder books, and I had a thing for Almanzo. So Mr. Bear and Almanzo gave me hope that my real life crush could someday happen. It didn't, but you know, the hope was there.
Yeah, and if we're going literary crushes, female, Anne of Green Gables. I so
Oh,
identified
yeah.
with Anne. Loved Anne of Green Gables.
And
Adore.
Joe from Little Women
And
too.
Joe,
Oh
yes.
my gosh, I love Joe.
Oh, yes.
So-
I don't think there's a character from Little Women I didn't love.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. That's that book that you totally identify in some way with every girl that's in it.
yeah. So thanks for being with us. We'd love to hear about your literary loves.
Absolutely. Put them in the comments. And we'll talk to you next time.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye-bye.